We have this idea that a high IQ is basically a golden ticket, that it just makes life easier. And yeah, in some ways, it definitely can. But there's this whole other side to it, a hidden side that we almost never talk about, a kind of quiet struggle that comes from having a mind that just works differently. So today, let's pull back the curtain on the psychological challenges that are so often tangled up with high intelligence. So you've got this myth, right? This public image of effortless success, of total confidence. But the reality for so many intelligent people is this intensely private internal world filled with challenges that the people around them just can't see. It's a huge disconnect between how things look and how they actually feel. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if that incredibly powerful mind, the thing you see as your greatest asset, is also the very source of your most stubborn, deepest difficulties? Okay, let's really get into this. First up, let's talk about the internal stuff, the battles that are fought entirely inside your own head, the ones nobody else is ever aware of. And believe it or not, this all starts with how your brain is wired. In cognitive neuroscience, there's something called the default mode network. Think of it as your brain's engine for self-reflection and for running what-if scenarios. Well, in highly intelligent folks, that engine, it just doesn't like to switch off, ever. It leads to that constant churning overthinking. And this really gets at the heart of what that feels like. From the outside, you might just look quiet. Maybe you're staring out a window. But inside, your mind is running 1,000 simulations a minute, replaying conversations, questioning every little thing, always searching for patterns, even when there's nothing left to solve. Which leads us to this really strange paradox. You'd assume more intelligence equals more confidence, right? But so often, it's the exact opposite. Intelligence makes you painfully aware of the vastness of what you don't know. You see every flaw in your logic, every hole in your argument. That's the core of imposter syndrome, and it can just eat away at your self-assurance. And that same mental engine fuels perfectionism. Now, this isn't about being arrogant. It's about your mind being able to conjure up this crystal clear vision of the perfect outcome. And when messy reality inevitably falls short of that beautiful idea, that gap can feel like a personal failure. It can be genuinely painful. Okay, now this one might really throw you for a loop. You'd think being smart makes decisions a piece of cake. But what happens when your mind can see not just plan A and B, but all the way to plan Z? It multiplies every single variable, every possible outcome, every way something could go wrong until you're just stuck, frozen. That's analysis paralysis. All right, so that's the internal world. But what happens when that kind of mind has to step outside and interact with the rest of the world? A huge part of this comes down to boredom. But we're not talking about your typical, I'm bored feeling. It's more like a hunger. A highly active mind needs way more complex input, more cognitive stimulation, just to feel engaged. Without it, simple routine tasks aren't just boring, they can feel physically and mentally draining. And that hunger for stimulation is exactly why small talk can feel almost physically painful sometimes. It's not about being bad at socializing. It's just that the conversation isn't feeding the mind what it's craving. It feels like eating packing peanuts when you're starving for a real meal. See, what this kind of mind is really hungry for are conversations about the bigger picture. Things like systemic patterns, consciousness, the deep why behind human behavior, or just big abstract ideas. But let's be honest, finding people who want to dive into that stuff with you, it's not always easy. And that can lead to this really subtle but constant feeling of being alone. And then there's this other weight. Let's call it the burden of clarity. When your mind is wired for pattern recognition, you can't help but see the hypocrisy, the logical fallacies, the injustices all around you with this uncomfortable sharpness. And the thing is, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that can make the world feel like a really frustrating, exhausting place. And all of it, kind of funnels into what might be the biggest struggle of all, that relentless and often very lonely search for real meaning. The psychiatrist Viktor Frankl absolutely nailed it. For a lot of highly intelligent people, the standard goals society sets out for us, money, status, a comfortable routine, they can just feel empty. There's this intense, burning need to understand the why, to find a deeper purpose that our social frameworks don't always have a neat little box for. And this creates a really unique, kind of painful kind of loneliness. You can be great with people, you can be funny, social, connected, but at the same time, you're privately carrying around these huge thoughts and questions that you feel like you can't share with anyone. It's not a loneliness from a lack of people, it's a loneliness from a lack of being truly understood. So, okay, we've laid out all of these challenges. What do we do with this information? Well, the goal isn't to somehow fix any of this. The goal is to reframe it. It's about moving from a place of confusion about why you feel the way you do to a place of clarity. I think this is the most important thing to grasp. High intelligence isn't just a superpower or a simple leg up. It's a fundamentally different way of experiencing the world. The whole entire thing. And that experience comes with its own incredible gifts for sure, but also its own very real costs. And honestly, that's the game changer right there. Just understanding these patterns, it doesn't make the struggles magically vanish, but it does something way more powerful. It transforms that inner chaos and confusion into clarity. And for a mind that is always, always searching, that clarity can be the most meaningful thing of all. And that brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? It's a beautiful paradox. The very same mind that is a gift for solving incredibly complex problems is also the mind that carries the cost of never being able to fully settle, of always analyzing, of always searching for a conversation it can't quite find. It's a gift and a cost, all wrapped up in one. But maybe, just maybe, seeing yourself clearly, not as too much of something or not enough of another, but as this complex, beautiful whole, maybe that's the first step to realizing that this is exactly the kind of mind this world has always desperately needed.